How to break bad habits. So in the next 3 to 5 minutes, we're going to be talking about exactly how to break bad habits. But firstly, what I want to say is habits aren't actually inherently good or bad. Your brain doesn't actually know which ones are good or which ones are bad. It just reacts based on what we do. So what I mean by that is, let's say you keep doing something, but you define it as a bad habit. Your brain will essentially make that easier to do tomorrow. So by default, by doing a bad habit, it's harder to break tomorrow. And it's a bit like this. Let's say you've got a big motorway, big, nice, clear road. Nice, there's no real cars on it. It feels really good to drive on, right? When there's a motorway, it's clear. And then you've got a country road with potholes in, bumpy road. When starting a new habit, it's a bit like saying, you know what, I won't go down the big clear motorway. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go down the country road with potholes in, and I'm just going to go that way instead. It's really hard at the start. And the more you do that though, the more it's used, all of a sudden people start going, oh, we need to sort this road out because loads of cars are using it. Now let's make it easier to do. But there's a real tendency to go into the clear motorway highway. But going back to where we are, it's going to be hard anyway when you start new habits. Know that. It's going to be hard, it feels uncomfortable, and it feels easier to go back to your old habits, forgetting that it was hard anyway. That's why we wanted to change these bad habits. And by defining something, this is the key part, by defining something as a bad habit, what do you actually do? So let's say you call a habit a bad habit, and you believe that bad habits are harder to break. By default, deep down when you think about it, what are you more likely to do? Keep doing the bad habit, right? The bad habit. We're more likely to keep doing it, which actually tells our brain to keep doing it. Because our brain just responds to our actions. And our brain wants habits to be essentially unconscious behaviors that we can forget about and learn to forget. Because if you learn to forget them, that's less willpower. You can get on with talking about the stresses, facing the stresses of today. So your brain will just go, well, you keep doing it, so it must be serving a purpose, otherwise you wouldn't do it. So it must be serving a purpose, otherwise you wouldn't do it. So our brain will keep going, yeah, that's all good, just keep doing it. Make it easier to do. Let's create a link in our brain. Let's create that neural pathway that makes it easier just to do. We can store that away. So where are you right now? Perhaps looking at bad habits and going, 1, identifying them as bad habits. 2, believing that bad habits are harder to break, even though there's no actual proof of that. It's just that the more we do something, the more likely we are to do it tomorrow. Which means essentially where we are right now is based on our habits over the last 30, 60, 90 days. Where we are 90 days from now is just based on what we do today. What we do today we're more likely to do tomorrow. What we do tomorrow, we're more likely to do the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and so on. So how can you start to build a chain? A real simple thing with this, and I'll keep banging on about this one. Morning, Paula. Morning, Jules. I know I keep banging on about this one, but just consider today. Where are you at? Where's your energy levels between 1 and 10 today? Is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 10? Is it 2? How can you notch that at 1 point today? What can you do today to notch that at 1 point? Is it getting water in? Is it getting a big salad, veggies in at lunchtime? Is it getting some protein at your breakfast and lunch? Is it that you need to think about obstacles differently? I can't start yet because I've been invited to a social event, a meal out or whatever. Okay, what meals are you in control of today? I'm in control of my breakfast and lunch. Okay, cool. Let's get your water intake on point today. Yes, I can do that. And to notch me up 1. Because what would you normally do? Or normally I'll just go sod it. And that's a so-called unhelpful habit, which we'll keep doing until that perfect time comes, which we know it never comes, but because we believe that it might come, it means we're more likely to do the unhelpful habit today. Anyway, hope that helps. Have an awesome day. We have our Food Freedom program launching this week and our Reboot program. So more information on that. Let me know if you want more information on that. All about comfort eating, taking control of your relationship with food, and our Reboot program, Marlborough devices, or all from home. Just comment below of Reboot and I'll get you the details for that. And I'll see you soon. Take care.